All right, welcome to the Entrepreneur Insider Secrets podcast. Excited to spend time with you again today, getting some more work done on building your business and helping you get things figured out as you grow what it is that you're building. Today we're going to be talking about what to do when you don't feel qualified to teach or coach yet. Now, this is something that affects all pretty much early stage entrepreneurs, is that we have something that we'd really like to do, something that we really love. We love doing this type of work. It gives us energy, it gives us life, it gives us joy. We love doing it. It just gives us that energy, that passion. We want to do it. And yet we look around us and we think, but who would actually hire me? Who would actually want to work with me? Because, I'm not the most experienced person over here. There's so many other people over here that know so much more than me. There's so many other people that have more experience, more credentials, more everything. And you think, I don't match up to them. I can't really do anything with that. So at the end of the day, what we end up doing is we end up staying quiet and we hold back and we don't do the things that we know that we should be doing simply because we don't feel like we have it. We don't feel like anybody would really be interested in listening to us. We don't feel like anybody would really want to follow us because we don't have that confidence. We don't have that certainty about our experiences, our knowledge, the things that we know in our lives. And as a result, we don't really want to press forward. We don't really want to move forward because we think, I'm not there yet. I need to do more work. I need to do more reading. I need to do more. I need to do more, get more experience. I need to get another credential before people will take me seriously and actually pay attention to what I have to say. So today we're going to work through this. We're going to help you break through that, because that belief that you need to have something more is actually the thing that's holding you back. The thing that's holding you back from being successful. It's holding you back from achieving the things that you want to do. So today, the first thing we want to do is we want to talk about why you feel unqualified. Why is that? Why do you feel those things? Why do you feel like you can't do it? Why do you feel like, hey, I don't have what it takes. I don't think I can do it. Why do those feelings come about? Well, truly, there's usually a few things that are lying underneath that. First of all, there's a comparison thing going on. Many times we look around us and we think, oh man, that person over there, they know so much more than me. They are so much more experienced than me. They've done this for so much longer. Look at all the knowledge that they have. Look at all the experience that they have. Look at all the things they've achieved. Who's going to listen to me? Who's going to listen to little old me? Because that person over there is the real expert. That person over there is the one with the real talent. What in the world? And so we sit there and we talk ourselves out of moving forward because we're only looking at one person or two people. We're looking at the person over there who we view as the expert, who we view, and there may be a couple people over there, but we keep measuring ourselves against them. And we keep sitting there saying, they're the ones. They're the ones that know what they're doing. They're the ones that everyone should follow, not me. So what's the point of me trying? What's the point of me putting myself out there? Because I can't match up to them. I can't stand up to their level. So we hold back. Another one of the reasons that we have for not moving forward is perfectionism. And I hear this one many times over the years over a lot of things. We think we have to have everything just right before we step out and make ourselves known. For example, you may say, hey, I got to get my teeth fixed before I go and start doing videos and speaking and putting myself out there because my teeth aren't right. Or you may say, I can't go and do things like this because I really need to get all my hair done and my makeup done, and I need to get all this stuff. And there's so many things I need to get done to look right before I can even consider stepping out on the stage. Or I need to make sure I have the right clothes, I have the right this or right that. And so you sit there and you put all these barriers in front that if I don't have all of these things just right, someone's going to notice that I have 3 hairs that are pointed in the wrong direction. Someone's going to notice that my shirt was a little messy. Someone's going to notice that that my makeup wasn't just right. You know what? Here's the thing you need to keep in mind. Those people aren't the people you're looking for anyway. If people are going to sit there when you step out and you put yourself out there to try and help other people and to do these things, and if the responses you're getting back are those types of things, like, oh, hey, man, you should really make sure your hair is more perfect before you get on camera. Okay. Thanks. Go away. You're not the audience I was trying to reach in the first place. You're not the people I'm trying to get to. Because if that's what you're thinking, then you're not listening to anything I have to say anyway. So the one of the lessons we have to learn is the only person that's really sitting here and saying, oh my gosh, I need to be perfect and I need to have all this stuff just right. I need to be perfect, look in really nice clothes. I need to have my hair looking just right, my makeup done, my teeth are just right, whatever your fill in the blank is, whatever the thing is for you, the only person that really cares about that is you. Because trust me, I've seen people who are major influencers in obviously my space, which is business growth and development. And I've seen them do videos. I've seen them do things looking pretty shoddy. Just I've seen guys do videos, their hair's all messed up. I'm like, you didn't even try, did you? Didn't even try and comb their hair. Didn't even make any effort at all. Or, they didn't even have a shirt on. And you're like, okay, guess that was a choice. But you look at all those things and you can say, well, they're guys, okay, maybe there is a little bit to that. But what I'm saying is those people didn't care. They didn't care if they looked perfect. They didn't care if they had it all exactly right. They didn't care if all the pieces were in place before they went. They just went. They were more concerned with going than they were with preparing. And so don't let perfectionism hold you back. Don't let sitting here saying, well, I got to have all the, I got to have my background just so I got to have my, no, you don't. You don't. So many people have started with such minimal settings. Their background was a blank white wall and they had a simple camera and they just went. They didn't have it all figured out. They just went. The next thing I want to talk about is misunderstanding expertise. Now, here's another thing that I think we all need to work through a little bit is a lot of times we think in order for anyone to be interested in listening to us, we have to first become the best at what it is that we do. We have to become the number one person in our space before anyone would ever give us any attention. And that's nonsense, because you're not called to help everyone. You are not called to have every answer. You're not called to have everything figured out. You're called to help someone. And that can change everything for you. Here's what I know is even in all the different spaces that I've worked in and seen and had experience in, one of the things that I know is that sometimes a person can become too much of an expert. And I had a gentleman who I followed for a long time in the business growth space, who I learned a lot from, who I got a lot of knowledge and experience and really helped me in my education and how to grow a business. But his business, he was so good at it, his business went to the moon. And he was making money and literally was sitting on $1 billion company. And he started talking about the things that he's dealing with as he's at this stage in his business. And one day I realized I don't relate to you anymore. I don't feel related to you. I don't understand what you're talking about. You're talking about problems that don't fit my life. I don't have those problems. So you're talking about things that aren't relevant to me anymore. Yes, you're an incredible expert. Yes, you know this stuff extremely well, but I don't want to listen to you anymore. Why? Because I don't relate to you anymore. So this is something that we each need to work through. Just because if you're not the ultimate expert in your space, that could be a very good thing. That could strongly work to your advantage, because you may be at a level where the people that need help, they can relate to you, because the way that you speak, the way that you teach, the way that you do things, they may go, you get me, you understand what it is that I'm going through, you understand the struggle that I have, you understand the pain that I go through, you understand why I'm frustrated. Whereas the other person is way beyond them. The person may be an incredible expert, may have incredible credentials, experience, all of those things, but they may no longer be real. They may no longer be relatable. They may be off on some other planet, virtually speaking, that people can't even understand what they're doing anymore. You, by only being a couple steps ahead of where your audience may be the perfect person to relate to them, because they go, wow, the stuff that you're talking about, the stuff that you're struggling with, the stuff that you're trying to get through, that's the same stuff I'm going through. I can relate to this. Because let's think about it. If you ever go to a movie, and we've all gone to movies, I'm sure, at some point in our lives, and we've walked out, and sometimes we walked out and went, it was an okay movie. And it was all right. It was entertaining. Wasn't, it was just like a good movie, but I didn't really love it. And other times we walk out of a movie, we are just absolutely, we're almost in tears, because we were so pulled into the story. We were so pulled into the narrative of what we saw that we became part of the story. And there's a lesson to be learned from that in our own business. If someone that's listening to you can see themselves in your story, if they can see themselves in what you're talking about, they now connect to you and relate to you in a much different way. They look at you and go, yeah, I feel that. I see that. I've experienced that too. I know what that is like. I understand that. Wow. And now you're invested in the story. Like I said, the person I was talking about earlier, I was very invested in his story, because he was growing his business. We were growing our business. And I was very much on track, until all of a sudden he starts talking about all this stuff that I'm going, wait, what? No, I don't relate to you anymore. I no longer see myself in your story, because I was rooting for him to succeed, because I'm rooting for me to succeed. And now all of a sudden I'm going, I don't get you anymore. You're talking about stuff that is not my life. I'm no longer in your story. Your story moved beyond into other places. So being the biggest expert sometimes is a hindrance. We've all met people who are the ultimate experts, the academics who have all the degrees and know all the big words and know how to talk about things at a very high intellectual level. But let's be honest, your audience doesn't speak that way. They don't think that way. They don't sit there using massive words all the time. Most people speak and communicate on about a 7th grade level. And that's not a knock on anyone's intelligence. That's not at all what that is. That just means the way that we communicate, we usually use more common words. We use words that are more easily understood and words that we can all relate to, which comes about at that junior high level where our language patterns are established. We talk at about that level. And as long as you're relating at that level, other people are going to see themselves in your story and they're going to relate to you. So I want to just make sure that you get that. I want to make sure that you understand that this is something that you get. You don't need to be that expert. What you need to be is somebody that they can relate to, somebody that they can see themselves in your story so that they can grow with you as you're growing in yours. So the next thing is, what actually qualifies you? If those other things matter, if those other things aren't important, what does qualify you? Well, it's not your degrees. It's not your years of experience. It's not being perfect and always looking exactly right on camera and always looking like you got everything figured out. The thing that qualifies you is the fact that you've made progress. Even if you don't have everything solved yet, even if you don't have everything put together, if you don't have everything figured out, you've made progress. You've moved from point A and now you're to point B and you're working towards point C. Okay. Outstanding. Because somebody's still at point A and they're looking at you going, wait, how did you do that? How did you get from here to there? How did you make that step? And they're like wanting to follow you because they want to learn how to make that progress. They want to learn who could do all these things. These are the things people want. They want someone to relate to. I have a friend of mine right now who is just starting their own Substack. And there was a little bit of this where, she was like, I don't know if I should do it or if I shouldn't do it. Does this make sense or not? Would people really want to subscribe to this? And we talked about it. And I'm like, what you are is you've made a lot of progress over the past few years in your own personal growth, in your own personal story, in your own personal journey. And there are other people who are in similar boats as you who would enjoy learning with you, who would enjoy benefiting from the things that you've discovered, from the things that you've grown through, from the things that you've learned, from the things that you've understood that this is what I need to do. I need to do this, this, and this now, and I have to stop doing those things. And you're going to be able to help people just simply by showing and sharing your progress. And people are going to relate to you because you're not some academic. You're not some person talking about, hey, I'm over here way out into, this advanced territory. No, you're a fellow sojourner. You're another person on the path. And yes, and Lori just posted, like, you hear people talking about how they're stuck at it being a seven-figure business. You're out. Well, right. That's exactly it. You no longer see yourself in that person's story because they're in a place that you can't relate to. You're in a place where I don't know what they're talking about. I don't know what they're saying. I don't know what they're doing. This doesn't relate to me. This is not relevant in my story. My story and their story are suddenly now disconnected. Which is why when we worry about, do I have to be perfect? No. Do I have to have all my hair and everything just right before I go on? No. Because does anybody else? No. Every one of us knows what we look like when we get out of bed in the morning, right? The hair is all over the place. We're messy. We look sleepy. We don't look like we have it all together. So we know, each one of us knows what the real us looks like until we can at least get straightened up a little bit. Now, you just need to do what you need to do to relate to people. You need to do something that's going to help you connect to people. It doesn't matter if you look perfect. It doesn't matter if you have everything figured out. And when I was talking to my friend, this was something that I said, when we were little kids, none of us really gave a rip what anyone else thought. And I'm talking like little kids, like 4 or 5-year-old kids. They run around, they play, they do whatever they want. They act crazy. Like, I remember my kids at that age, they were just like, man, no filters. They would just do whatever they wanted, say whatever they thought, do whatever they wanted. They were just going. And then as they started to grow older, especially as they became teenagers, they became painfully aware of what they were doing, painfully aware of the people around them, their peers, and they were terrified of being judged. So they withdrew and pulled back. And for far too many of us, we still live in a variation of that space. Well, we are so concerned that other people are going to judge us, where other people are going to look down on us, where other people are going to say, hey, I don't, I don't think what you're doing is good. I disagree with you. That we hold back and we stop. As opposed to like when you meet older people, have you ever met like an old man? Have you ever noticed things about them? Is you hit the point where you get to a certain age as an old, I've noticed especially with old men, where they just start saying and doing things. You're like, dude, you got no filter, do you? And it dawned on me, they've hit the point where they no longer care if they hurt someone's feelings. They no longer care if you disagree with them. They know they're just going to go. So in many ways, they've returned to where they were when they're 4 and 5. Because they realize nobody cares anyway. I'm just going to say what I think. So there's a lesson to be learned in all of that. In the beginning, we didn't care what anybody thought, and we were just who we were. Then we spent so much of our lives being so concerned what everyone else's opinion is, only to realize at the end of our lives that no one cared anyway. So we might as well just be who we are. What if we could learn that lesson sooner? I'm not telling you to be obnoxious. I'm not telling you to be like some of these old guys, really rude and really ridiculous and really like not caring at all. Some of them take it a little too far. But what if we just stopped worrying what everyone else thought? What if we were more focused on serving our clients and meeting the needs of the people that we're trying to serve than we are with how people are going to view us? Because if we can let that go, we can then focus on the really important task, which is helping other people. And if you've ever helped somebody, like if somebody in your next door neighbor was doing something and they're having a problem with something in their yard, and you just went over and said, oh, I'm going to go help them. And you just helped them and you helped them solve whatever thing that they were working through. Did they look at you and say, ugh, I can't believe you came over here dressed like that? Like you got a ball cap on, you got an old shirt on, dirty jeans. Like, why would you? No, your neighbor looked at you and said, hey, thank you. They didn't care. You helped them. You helped them do what they needed help with. They didn't care that you weren't all perfectly clean and dressed up. They just were appreciative of the fact that you helped them. And maybe we need to apply that a little bit more to what we do here. So, last point is, how do we know when we're ready? How do we start before we feel ready? Because some of us are going to say, but it's a feeling, it's a thing. I don't know. I just don't feel like I'm ready to go do this yet. Well, here's the secret to overcoming that. You don't wait to feel ready. There's a lesson that I learned going to the gym and working with a trainer over all of these years. There's a lesson that I had to learn, which was you have to first, before you get good at something, you have to first be willing to suck at it. You have to first be willing to stink. And you have to be okay at that. I remember many times my trainer looking at me and going, I want us to do this. And I want us to work on this and this. And I looked at him, I said, I'm going to stink at this. I'm going to be really bad. He goes, I know. And just smiles at me. I know you're going to be bad at this. Do it anyway. And so I would. And I'm like, I didn't really get a choice. I didn't really get an option. I didn't really get much of a opportunity to say no. So he made me do it. And the first few were ugly. But over time, started to get better. Because you just do it again. Okay, do it again. All right, do it again. Oh, that's a little better. Good. Now do it again. Do it again. And you keep doing it and doing it. How do you get ready? How do you become prepared? How do you become qualified? You start doing it. Sometimes we make things too hard. You become good at something by doing something. You know, one of my sons is very shy. One of my sons is very introverted. And as a result, he doesn't want to go and like go out and meet a lot of people a lot of times. He's tends to be more reserved, but he also knows he wants to have more friends. He wants to meet more people. And I look at him and go, "You're overthinking this. Just go where the people are and just go start hanging out with people and go start meeting people. Find a location that they're doing things that you enjoy and just go be part of it." "Well, I don't know what to say." I'm like, "How about hello?" And then he just looks at me like, "What? Hello? My name is..." It's like we overthink these things. If you want to get good, if you want to become qualified, if you want to feel like you know what you're doing and you want to be looked at as an expert, you got to first just be willing to just do it before you're ready. And the more you do it before you're ready, the more you're willing to put yourself out there, the more you're willing to just do the thing, the faster you're going to get there. I just telling you, I've had many people at the gym, because I've been doing this for a few years now, who came up to me and they just said, "David, I am so proud of you." Said, "I saw you in the early days. I saw you were struggling. This was hard for you. You could hardly lift any weight. This was a very difficult journey for you. It was very difficult to do much of anything. I saw you. I saw you over there. But the thing is, you would never quit. You just kept going and you kept going and you kept going. And now you're doing way more than all the rest of us. You've bypassed all of us." And my trainer joked with me the other day, because I had a day where I was dealing with a lot of shoulder pain and I was getting kind of discouraged. And he just goes, "David, I want you to keep something in mind." So over these past 3 years, your growth has been unbelievable. You've been on an unbelievable track of growth. He goes, "You're 57 years old. And not only are you now stronger than all the other 57-year-olds, you're stronger than all the 30-year-olds. And it just made me pause. Because when I first started, I was the least qualified person in the gym. I could do nothing. Everything I did was embarrassing. I mean, I would look at little girls walking and standing next to me doing the same exercise, and they were doing it way better with more weight than I was. And I'd be standing there going, "Okay, this is humiliating." And my trainer would just stand there, "Don't look at her. Just ignore her, because I know she's doing better than you right now. Totally ignore her. Pay no attention to the person standing to your left. Completely ignore her and just focus on getting better yourself." And I would just say, like, okay. But there's such a powerful lesson in that. Don't worry about what everyone else is doing. Don't worry about how you look to all those people. Just focus on becoming the best version of you can. Keep putting yourself out there. Keep pushing yourself to grow. And at the end of the day, one day you're going to wake up and people are going to walk up to you and go, "Wow, I can't believe how good you are." And you're going to go, "What are you talking about?" And because you did the thing again and again and again, you developed this massive skill. And because you kept your eyes on the prize and didn't worry about the other things, and you focused on the things that are important, all of a sudden things started to change. So let's bring this all together. You know, I've obviously, anybody who knows me knows I'm from the state of Iowa. That's where I was born and raised. And I'm a big Iowa Hawkeye fan, in case you haven't noticed all the Iowa gear that I have on. There's even a little Iowa helmets behind me and so forth. So you probably have figured that out by now. But there's recently been a commercial that's been put out by Caitlin Clark, which is obviously a big Hawkeye person for me. But it essentially goes like this. You know, people think talent is something that you have. But reality is, one day you just show up and you decide, "I'm going to do this thing." And you keep doing it, and you keep doing it, and you keep doing it Until one day you say, you know what? I can do this. It's no longer so hard. It's starting to become easier because you start developing skill. And that is something that I think all of us, I totally butchered the words that she shared, but I think it's important that all of us learn that lesson. We're not going to get to be an expert. We're not going to be getting to be the best simply by reading books, hiding in the corner, staying out of sight, trying to prepare. No, we're going to become an expert and get qualified by getting our butts out there and doing it. By taking ourselves out of the corner and putting ourselves in the front of the line and saying, we're going to go. We're going to go. We're going to do it. Even though I don't feel ready, we're going to just take the action step and we're going to do the best we can. And we're going to focus on serving the one person that I can help. And if you can do that, you will make a difference and you will connect with your audience. So I hope this is helpful to you today. I hope you got a lot out of it. As always, if you ever have any questions or you'd like to learn more about what we do, check out designlaunchgrow.com. We would love to hear from you. Otherwise, have an amazing day, and I will see you in the next episode.